So, oh, as I stick it up my nose. Oh, whoa. Something funky, for sure. Hey guys, welcome back. So got a fun video for y'all today. I'm gonna be testing out a bunch of products from Kokie. I don't remember if I've tried very many of their products in the past, maybe like one or two here and there, but not like many things from their line. So I went ahead and purchased a lot of different things to try out. So just gonna be playing with makeup on camera with y'all today, getting ready, using all these products on my face so you can see them in action, hear my thoughts along the way, and we're just gonna be testing some makeup and playing in some makeup today. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's jump on in. So I've already applied some skincare and primer. So I'm gonna start with the foundation from Kokie. This is the Skin Perfect HD Foundation, and it says a mid-coverage natural finish foundation that offers flawless, high-def perfection in every light. And I got the shade 10C. 10C. So I'm gonna use, wait, which brush? I'm gonna use this one, the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. Get some of that on there. So I have used this foundation a few times now because I really wanted to know more about it and just kind of test it out a bit further, because foundations, it just takes me longer to figure out how I feel about them. This one, at first I was thinking I really didn't like it very much, but the more times I've worn it, I actually think it's pretty good. It's not my favorite, it's not my favorite foundation, but what I've found with it, let me get this on my face. So here's about one coat on my skin. So this isn't the ideal color match for me, so I think that's part of the reason that I was initially not a huge fan of it, just because, you know, if something is not the right color, it just kind of impacts how it looks on your skin. So this is a little bit light for me, still workable, but just a little bit light. So what I've noticed about this, the thing I don't like about it is it does seem to be one of those foundations that doesn't like fully meld with my skin and become one with my skin. It kind of seems to sit on top, and I can kind of see it like just clinging to dry patches, clinging around my nose, just kind of accentuating some texture. And I've noticed that happening at kind of different levels, different days. I think it just kind of depends on hydration level of my skin that day or texture going on with my skin that day. So the days that it does that less, and I don't notice as much clinging and those sorts of things, I do like it because it wears pretty well throughout the day. I don't notice it breaking down. So I like that about it. It's really just kind of how it sits on my skin. So that seems to kind of differ day to day. So overall, it's not my favorite foundation I've ever tried by any stretch, but as I'm using it more, I can definitely find some things about it that I do enjoy, but it's not going to be a foundation that I probably repurchase. I'm going to dab on just a little bit more, like in the middle of my face, just to get a little bit more coverage there. I'd be interested to hear if y'all have tried this foundation and enjoyed it or not enjoyed it, what your skin type is and kind of what your experience has been working with it, because I don't know if I could say like who the ideal candidate would be for this foundation, because I don't have super oily skin anymore. I'm not really sure how it would wear with super oily skin. I do think if you have super dry skin, it will accentuate that dryness. So I don't know that it would be best for super dry skin, but I'd just be interested to hear what your thoughts are if you've tried this foundation. So I thought I grabbed a brow product from Kokie, and apparently I didn't, or I've misplaced it. So I don't really know. So I'm gonna apply some brows. I think I'm just gonna use my Benefit Goof Proof brow pencil. And then I also am just gonna use some of my Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer. So I'm gonna get these on and I'll be right back. Okay, moving on to eyeshadow, I grabbed this palette. This is the Artist palette in Peachy Queen. Peachy Queen. Really pretty peachy palette. Reminds me a lot of the Too Faced Peaches and Cream palette. Is that what it's called? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. So let's just dive on into this. I'm going to use some of this to set my eyeshadow primer to start off with, using a Moda crease brush to set. Okay, I think I want to do kind of a peachy sort of an eye, so I'm going to get this one right here to start with on a Cozette S175 brush. Let's see. Seems a little bit soft, but not that bad. Let's see how this does. Ooh, this is applying really nicely. I would describe these as silky this feels like a very silky shadow, but that, you know, really is working well on the eyes. Okay, now I'm gonna get some of this shade right here on a Cozette D220. This looks like a fun peachy shade. Oh, wow. Look at that pigmentation. Ooh, that is exciting. I am tapping off my brush, but it doesn't seem to, like, I'm not noticing a lot of fallout, so these definitely seem like a silky shadow sort of a formula. Nice. Just doing a little bit of blending with that larger brush. Now I'm gonna take a small crease brush and get some of this kind of like rosy raspberry sort of a color. This looks fun. And I'm gonna apply this in my outer corner. Wow, I mean, I am really impressed with these mattes so far. This is a very nice formula. They have pigmentation to them, but they are blending well. Not a lot of fallout. I really don't see like any. I mean, maybe a few little specks. Wow, I'm excited and impressed. That is very, very pretty. Okay, so for my lid shade, let's look. I'm gonna swatch this one and I'm gonna swatch this one. Ooh, those are both pretty. I think I'm gonna go with the lighter, kind of peachier shade. So I'm gonna get some of that on a flat crease brush. Let's see, am I seeing fallout with this one? Or not fallout, but like a powderiness? Very little. I mean, not a lot. Okay, so there it is dry, so not much pigmentation that way. Let's see with my finger. Better, but let's see with a setting spray. Okay, so after a few layers, like this is about 3 layers or so, it's building on itself finally. So the shimmers don't seem to be as impressive, but the mattes in here are really good. Like really, really, really loving those. But so far these couple shimmers, or at least the one I'm trying on my eyes, not super duper impressive. Okay, so last step here, I'm gonna get some of this brown shade on that same small crease brush and apply just a little bit of this in my outer corner, just for a little bit of depth and dimension. So yeah, the mattes definitely seem to be the star of the show in this palette. I mean, these are very silky and beautiful. I mean, look at that. Gorgeous. Wow. Yeah, so I would not buy this palette for the couple of shimmers, but it's almost all matte, and the matte formula is incredible. So I would definitely recommend this palette if you're looking for some good mattes. I grabbed this eyeliner to try. This is the Line & Style Long Wear Matte Liquid Eyeliner. This is what the packaging looks like, so that's kind of fun. So different fun sort of packaging. This is what it looks like. So it's kind of a felt tip sort of a liner. So let me get a mirror ready. Okay, so let's see how this goes. Definitely very matte. So it doesn't seem super inky, like it seems like it doesn't have a ton of like stuff in here, because I kind of struggled more with this eye, like I was kind of running out of some product, and it looks more like a gray, like a bluish gray sort of a color than a true black. So it's not super duper inky and black and just not very liquidy. So I think it's okay, I think it's workable, but I would not run out and get this. Not my finest eyeliner application moment by any stretch, but that's okay. Okay, moving on to mascara. I did get a mascara to try. Y'all know I'm super picky about mascaras, so kind of a hard sell. So this is the Kokie Volume Plus Length. 0 clumps, adds length and volume, smudge proof. It says made in Italy. So I got the black shade. Cute packaging. I love the pink with the black. So let's see what this is like. Okay, so it is a like brush bristle sort of a wand. and it's kind of a medium size to small size, which I do like because I feel like you can kind of grab every lash with this sort of an applicator wand situation. Okay, so let's see what happens. Definitely separating my lashes. Looks like it's adding some length, so that's good. Let's see if there's any volume to it. This does have kind of a painty, so, oh, as I stick it up my nose, kind of a painty sort of a smell to it. I mean, some mascaras kind of smell like this, but I can just kind of smell it a little bit. So that is one coat. I'm pretty impressed with it with one coat. Like, it did pretty good. So let's see with more coats, because you'll know I like to apply about 5 or 6 coats of mascara. Wow, okay, so this is several coats and I'm impressed with this. Like, it gives length, it gives volume, it builds on itself. It does seem like it could eventually get clumpy, but I mean, I got into a lot of coats and really didn't struggle with that. So I'm very impressed with this mascara. Super impressed. This is good. I'll let you know about smudging and how that goes. But again, I'm kind of a test case as far as that goes. Most mascaras do smudge up on my eyelids. So take that with a grain of salt if that does happen. Okay, let's move on to the face. So for concealer, I got this one. This is the Be Bright Illuminating Concealer. Super duper cute packaging to it. And I got the shade Fair. So I heard that this was really pretty and lightening and brightening. So I do like that. So I have tried this before because I wanted to kind of test it out a bit further. And it is a liquidy sort of a concealer. Like, it's a thin sort of a formula to it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm fine with that because honestly, like, a lot of times it seems like thicker ones just collect and look kind of gross. So I typically do use something that either has a creamier consistency or a lighter consistency first to kind of color correct or lighten and brighten, and then I'll go in with something maybe a little bit thicker just for a little bit more added coverage. So this seems like it's kind of more of that initial step because you can see it here. I mean, it blends in really well. And it is lightening and brightening, not super duper full coverage though. So it's more kind of like gonna be that first step and just kind of lighten and brighten your under eyes. But as far as coverage, you may want more. So it's kind of gonna depend on what you're looking for. Let me apply a little bit more. So here it is with a little bit more. So you can see, just not super full coverage. Something I do notice about this concealer that happens is it's kind of collecting and sitting in my pores right in here. And it might just be kind of as I'm blending and then also mixing with the foundation. So some kind of strange things happen on my face with this concealer. And sometimes that just kind of happens with concealer. And I think also it has to do with it being a lighter sort of a formula. I do notice that happening more with a lighter sort of a formula concealer. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NW20 and just get a little bit more coverage. So yeah, I would say if you are looking for a lighter coverage concealer or just a lighter formula concealer that is more brightening than coverage wise, I think you would maybe like it. Like, I think it's an option in the drugstore. I don't know that it's the best option. I really love Maybelline's concealers. I love their color correctors. So those are my favorite in the drugstore, but I do think that this is an option as long as you don't mind that kind of thinner sort of a formula. I got one of their powders to try out. So this is what it looks like. This is the setting powder, and this is translucent. It did come with a little puff in there. So had a little puff inside. I'm not going to use the little puff. So this looks pretty yellowy. So I wasn't expecting that. So let's see if this will work. So I'm going to use my e.l.f. small tapered brush. Get some of this on my brush. Doesn't seem super duper powdery. It looks like it's got like some, you know, coverage and pigmentation to it. Let's see how this does. Typically I use kind of a, oh, I must have collected down there. No, whoa. Typically I use a kind of pinky toned powder to set my under eyes. It just looks better for my skin tone. This is pretty yellowy, so it's looking pretty yellow on my skin. I'm gonna lightly dust and set the rest of my face with my Real Techniques blush brush. Okay, so let's review and assess. So, I definitely look powdery. I do look makeup-y. So, it's not necessarily clinging to dry patches. I don't really notice that, but I look like I have a lot of product in here, but I applied more foundation there. I applied extra concealer there, so I do have just more product here. So the powder on top of that is just looking a little bit heavy. So up here it's looking better though. So I actually think it's not that bad of a powder. Not my favorite. The color isn't perfect for me, but I would say if I use this again, I will use it very lightly, very sparingly, and I won't probably use it for my under eyes, more specifically because of the color tone of it. I'm gonna finish up my under eyes real quick. So I think I'm gonna get some of the peachy shade on a BH Cosmetics number 10 brush and run this along my lower lash line. And then gonna use some of the mascara on my lower lashes. I definitely am needing some color on my face for sure. So we're gonna use this. This is the Powder Contour Palette, and I got the shade Universal. I heard great things about this, so I'm excited about this palette. Looks very reminiscent of the Kat Von D palette. Maybe I should have used one of those under my eyes. That probably would have been good. I didn't think about that. I'll let you know in the future when I have tried that out. Okay, I'm gonna get a little combination of these two over here and apply some of this. Ooh, does not seem super powdery. It's kicking up a little bit in the pan, but very little for how much I kind of dabbed into it. So I'm gonna apply some of this on my face and just give myself some color. This is applying very nicely, and I'm actually using a denser brush, which typically would make it more difficult to blend, but I am not having any problems with this. This is very nice. That is really nice. I like the color tone of it. I like that it is mostly kind of a mid-tone sort of a shade. I like how it blended onto the skin. That is very nice. Let me swatch these other ones. Ooh, texture-wise, these feel very nice and buttery. Good texture to them. Here are the 3 contouring shades. Wow, yes, impressed with this. For blush, I grabbed this guy. This is the Blush Up Blush Palette. Again, cute packaging to it. There were several different options of these trios, so I grabbed Demure. This is Demure. Looks like a neutral sort of a trio. So let me show you swatches. Ooh, feels like the same buttery texture as the contouring thingies, powders. Okay, so I'm gonna get this middle shade right here and apply some of this on my cheeks. Ooh, that's nice. That's very pretty. I'm gonna get some of the deeper shade and apply. Ooh, that's pigmented. Ooh, whoa. I was gonna say I'm gonna use a little bit of that lower on my cheeks. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to blend that in and then also make this side kind of match. Sort of like that draping thing. So if you like that kind of draping your blush, this is definitely a good trio to be able to do that. I'm gonna get some of this lighter pink on the other end of my brush. Kind of go a little bit lighter on my cheeks. Not lighter, higher on my cheeks with this. Kind of as a blush topper. That's pretty. Gonna blend it in a little bit with my powder brush, just kind of around the edges. I really like that too. I love the tone of it. I love it. It's kind of a neutral rosy sort of a shade. I like how it blended. I like having the 3 different like levels in there, the deep, medium, and light. That's very pretty. I like that too. For highlighter, I grabbed this thing. This is the Liquid Highlights. And I got the shade Superstar. So it looks like this is gonna be kind of a dropper sort of a thing. Yep, a droppery situation. So I don't know how I'm gonna apply this. I think I'm gonna try to apply this with my finger. So I'm gonna get some of this on my finger, do a little bit of this, and then dab this on my face. Now, most people who would use a sponge, you know, for the rest of their makeup would just use a sponge, but I really am just more of a brush gal. I just use blushes. I use brushes way more often than sponges. So this is pretty. It is kind of more on the subtle side. It's not super duper intense. Let me see if I can find a brush to use. Okay, so I found a stipple brush. I'm gonna try to stipple a little bit more on. So what I'm doing, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm getting a little bit on the end of this stipple brush. I'm just gonna try to stipple this on. That's definitely helping make it more intense. Yeah, I like that a lot better. So I would definitely use a stipple brush, or you could try it with a sponge if you are used to using a sponge. But wow, okay, with the stipple brush, yes, I really like it that way. It just gives this like glow to the face. It's not super intense, but really pretty. Catches the light. Ooh, that's actually very pretty. It does have kind of a, I wouldn't say oily, but like a silky sort of a feeling to it. So I would definitely not like rub this on your face because I think it's gonna maybe disturb what's under it. Just, I mean, that's kind of the nature of like a liquid highlighter. So I would definitely say do that. Like right now what I'm gonna do, because I do feel like it kind of took over this area of my face, I do want to apply a little bit more of my blush. Kind of bringing a little bit of that back. I'm actually just using my brush, not really adding a lot of product, just kind of whatever was on the brush, just so I still have some of my blush. Okay, and then lastly for lips, I initially grabbed this lipstick. This is the matte lipstick in Kiss Me, and I was so excited about the color. The packaging is super duper cute on it, so I love the packaging. Let me show you the swatch of it because it's a beautiful shade. I have a brush hair on me. Yeah, so it's a really pretty kind of bright red, but I cheated and went to wear this one day. Typically, like most things, I try to just like try on camera with you guys, unless it's something like foundation and I want to try it out a little bit longer. But this one I had cheated and gone to wear it, and this is strange smelling. It smells like, I was trying to think of what it smells like. It smells like the laughing gas that they give you at the dentist. Super chemically. I put it on my lips and I was like, oh no, like I didn't even want to wear it on my lips because I could smell it. I feel like I could almost feel it on my lips. It was just weird. So if you are sensitive to scents and smells in makeup, this is just weird and chemically smelling. So I would definitely not recommend that solely based on the scent. As far as formula, I mean, it looks really pretty and feels creamy, but just couldn't hang with the scent. So I got something else. This is the Lip Powder, Liquid Matte Powder. I don't know if that's Lip Poudre or Lip Powder. I'm not really sure. And I got the shade Rosewood in this. I had heard great things about these, so I may end up liking this better than I would have liked the matte lipstick anyway. Ooh, that is a really pretty color. Not what I was expecting. It looks a lot darker in the packaging, but I actually like that even more on the lips. I like that it's kind of that more cool toned, sort of a pinky rosy situation. Very, very pretty. I like that a lot. It has a kind of longer, slightly angled doe foot applicator, a little bit challenging to use. It kind of like moves a little bit as I was applying it, but still very workable. This feels like it's gonna be more of a traditional liquid lipstick. Feeling a little bit tacky as of right now. Okay, so this has been drying down for several minutes now, and it's still kind of feeling a little bit tacky. Ooh, which I kind of feel on the fence about because sometimes that means it doesn't feel as dry throughout the day. So I'm okay with it feeling a little bit moussey, but I don't like tacky and sticky. And this is still feeling tacky and sticky. So it seems like one that's really gonna have to dry down. You're gonna have to put a powder or something on top of it to kind of help it set down. But I hear great things about these. So I wanna wear this, see what I think about it, wear it several more days, and let you guys know in a future video. Okay, so have everything on. So I definitely have some final thoughts. So let's do a quick little wrap up. So overall nose for me that I was not super duper impressed with. This is definitely a no. This matte lipstick solely based on the scent. This is weird. I don't like the scent of this. It's just chemically and funky. Something funky for sure. And then this liner, it's just overall a no for me. It's just more gray, not super inky, so didn't love the liner. Things that I'm kind of like still deciding on and or in the middle feelings on are the powder. Didn't mind it on my forehead, would not use it again underneath my eyes. Do want to play with it more, but initial thoughts, I don't think it's bad on the forehead, but I would definitely use it with lighter products underneath it because I think that it's going to look makeup-y and kind of heavy if you use it on top of several different things, which is what happened in this part of my face. But over here, it was fine. So I do still think it's workable. I would just use it in a certain way. Still deciding about this. It's still feeling tacky, so I'll probably like it once it sets down though. So it's probably gonna, it reminds me of the Maybelline, are they called the Ink or something like that? I can't remember. They're liquid lipsticks that are super long wearing, but they take a long time to set down. This is kind of seeming like the same sort of situation. The foundation, y'all heard my thoughts on this. Kind of on the fence about it. It's not my favorite foundation, but I do think it is workable. The concealer, I would say if, you know, all the scenarios I mentioned when I was using it, if you don't mind a lighter coverage concealer, if you don't mind a lighter consistency concealer, if you're looking for one that is brightening, I think you would like this. But if you're looking for full coverage concealer, if you're looking for straight up coverage and a thicker, creamier sort of a texture, I don't think this is the one for you. So I think it's gonna depend on what you're looking for. This is workable for me, but not exactly what I'm looking for. Things that I did really like and am super impressed with, I am so surprised by the mascara, but I actually really, really like this. Lengthening, volumizing. Did a great job with that. I think it looks great on the lashes, and I am picky about mascaras. Do really like the liquid highlighter. Liquid highlighters are overall not my favorite kind of highlighters, but I do think that this one is really, really pretty and just looks gorgeous on the skin, so I really do like that. Very impressed with the little blush. I think this is pretty on the cheeks. I think it was easy to work with and use. Super duper love the contour palette. This is so nice. This was easy to work with. Love the texture on those products. Worked great. Super, super impressed with the mattes in this eyeshadow palette. I just love this eye look. I think it looks beautiful. It's vibrant. It was easy to do. Gorgeous, but I would definitely go for this specifically for the mattes because those are the stars of the show in this palette. All right guys, so that wraps up this video. So hope that you really enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful for you. Please hit a thumbs up if it was. Let me know down below if you've tried any of these products. What do you think about them? What was your experience working with them? I love hearing your thoughts and opinions on products. So let me know that down below. Ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer those. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.